Okay, and the other thing I would do for your test is I would actually make a cyclohexane ring. Please remember that it's essentially 6 carbons in a row, and you're joining them to form a ring. And remember that one part of it is pointing down while the other one is pointing up. Okay, so that's chair conformation. And notice you have 3 axial hydrogens pointing down, and you have 3 axial hydrogens pointing up. Whereas here you have equatorial, obviously some are pointing down, some are pointing up. But anyways, what I would do is make your 6-membered ring, and then depending on where your substituents are, this is just a test to prove whether or not these compounds are the same thing. So here I have 2 substituents, and I don't know, I'll say they're both methyl groups, okay? And notice this one's pointing up, this one's pointing down, so they would be trans, okay? And to test it, I want to see if I do a ring flip, what happens to the groups. So here I'm going to bring up this carbon, I'm going to bring up this carbon and bring this carbon down. So notice that they were both equatorial, and now, sorry, I'm going to move this back a little bit. Oh, maybe I got to bring it in. Sorry, guys. That's better. Notice that they were both equatorial, now they're axial, so that's a way of confirming whether or not it is the same compound. So when you do a ring flip, equatorial becomes axial. All right, now I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to make this one equatorial and this one axial. And I'm going to do a ring flip and see what happens to them. Now, because they're both pointing up, this has to be a cis molecule. So I did a ring flip, and notice that the one that was equatorial is now axial, and the one that was axial is now equatorial. They are both pointing up, so as a result of it, it's still a cis molecule. And this is the same compound, so it's not a isomer of itself, okay? All right, so what I would do is I would bring the model kit with you wherever you're going to take your test, and I would just move the colored orbs around depending on where your groups are, just to prove to yourself whether or not these are isomers. So if it's a cis molecule, it's going to stay cis with the ring flip. If it's a trans molecule, it's going to stay trans with the ring flip. Okay, so this is just a test to see whether or not they're isomers. So cis and trans would be isomers, whereas if it's a cis molecule, it's going to stay cis. If it's a trans molecule, it's going to stay trans.